What's up, guys? This is your boy James, aka 68J, coming to you on this amazing Tuesday. What's up, guys? How you doing, Mike Tanner? Good to see you. Anthony Wanner's in the house. Bullish Big D, Tony Bags, Crypto Tropics. How you guys doing? Welcome to the greatest way to start your day, Crypto for Life family. We appreciate you guys for being here, guys. We got a lot to cover, but before we do, I'm super excited about my guests. You guys have seen that we've had quite a few celebrity guests. We've had people from Coach Carter. You've seen Antoine Tanner. You just saw last Sunday Robert Rashad. We've had celebrities. We had various athletes. And this guy really is the epitome of what it is to be a leader. He is phenomenal. I've got some things I want to cover before we get into that. Right now, guys, as far as the market, before I bring my good friend and brother on, let's talk about where the market's at right now. We're at 1.1 trillion. Still, what's going on with Bitcoin? Good Lord. Who knows? Right now, we're at 28,195. Obviously, we had a little bit of a capitulation last night. It got down to 28 and some, 27 and some change. Ethereum is at 1867. We got BNB at 311. We got XRP at 50 cents. XRP trying to rebound a little bit. We got back down to 49 cents yesterday. Doge, what's going on with Doge? Good Lord, look at this. 33% for the week. 25% up over the last 24 hours. Well, I think it has a lot to do with Elon Musk. Would you say that? I think you guys would agree with that. Elon Musk changes the bird, the little Twitter symbol, to the Doge dog. And what did it do? It made the coin moon. Big time, guys. We got up to 10 cents. This thing actually is back in front of Cardano at number 7. Whoa, look at that. Number 7. Now, it's got quite a bit of ways to go before it can ever get past XRP. But just the fact that Doge, the coin that was created to make fun of crypto, the coin that started off as a joke, that now you can go and you can pay for movies, you can buy yourself a Tesla, you can do all these different things, and who's embracing it? Elon Musk. What does he call it? By the people, for the people. He says it's one of the greatest ways for people to be successful because he realized most people can't afford a Bitcoin. So Dogecoin is hot right now. Cardano ADA is at 39 cents. We got Polygon at 113. We got Solana at 20.99. Polkadot is at 645. Guys, we got LTC at 93 and some change. We got Shiba. Looks like that dog pumped a little bit too. 4 zeros and a 1-1. We got TRX at 6 cents. Avalanche at 17.37. We got that old crazy Chainlink at 7.38. Guys, we got Atom at 11.28. We got XMR at 157.67. You know how we feel about XLM. It's at 10 cents. That thing's been mooning. Why? I believe it's related to XRP. I'm just saying. TON is at 227. OKB is at 41.12. We got Filecoin. Remember that thing? We covered that thing at, what, 297? It's at 567 right now. Let's see. We got LDO at 256. We got HBAR at 6 cents. APT at 11.46. Not a whole lot has changed, guys. The market, for the most part, is in single-digit greens. We got a couple double digits here that you guys can see, but the one that steals the show is no other than that crazy dog, Dogecoin. Right now, that thing's on fire. So, guys, that's pretty much with the market. We'll go over some things with Twitter after I'm done, but right now, let me talk about my good friend, someone who's close to me. I've known him for many years. As I went around in the game of speaking, obviously a lot of you guys know my story from being in traditional business for 25 years. I spent just as long on some of the biggest stages around the world, and I ran into this guy probably maybe about 6, 7, 8 years ago, and he is the teacher of teachers. So when you're out there as a person learning to be in the world of leadership and motivational speaking and how to do things, right, and how to connect with people. There's no one better than this gentleman. He would pack out arenas, different massive events around the world, and you would see some of the most profound speakers just locked into what this guy is saying. He is, like, again, the leader of all leaders. He's an award-winning speaker. He's a 6-time author, writer. He has 2 Amazon best-selling books. Guys, just next level, guys. He's featured in Forbes. What else do I need to say? Multi-million-dollar business earner and entrepreneur. He actually teaches others how to have success. He's also featured in Yahoo Finance and NY Wire. He's also the executive producer of a movie that I'm going to actually show you guys a clip before bringing him on, and an actor in the movie. He's spoken on some of the biggest stages around the world. He's probably one of the most sought after people. He's been on countless, as I was looking him up online and obviously follow him throughout his career. He's been on some of the top shows around the world as far as being interviewed and things like that. So I'm super excited about the guy. Let me go ahead and show you guys one of the movies. This movie here is called Canal Street. He was the executive producer on this movie. Actually, also had a role in the movie where he played a prisoner. I'm kind of setting it up. He played a prisoner. Then when most of you guys know Bashir Gray, who from you guys know him from Empire, the smash Empire that was like the #1 show in the world on TV at one point. He was a star. He was a kid that would rap. His dad was like Lucius Gray or Lucius Lyon or something like that. But it was a great film, and so he co-starred with him. And because of Kevin Mullens, he actually brought me into the project. And so I'm going to show you guys some stuff with that as well, where we were able to connect, and I was able to speak in front of actors at the premiere. I was able to actually speak in front of at the National Convention for the YMCA for kids with Patty Smith, which is Emmett Smith's wife. All this is because of who this guy is. So this is all because of Kevin Mullens, my connection with the director who you guys saw that we had something happen with his mother with COVID, but Ryan Lamar, the director and creator of that film, is going to be coming on the show as well. I've talked to him. We had to reschedule, but that guy actually flew out to my house. I remember him flying out to my house, sitting out, me and my wife having dinner, talking about ways of raising money for the project, and that was all because of this gentleman. So let's show the movie that he's an executive producer for. This is Canal Street, the official trailer.
You think I'm a murderer?
Somebody help! Maybe having this discussion.
I didn't kill nobody. You think I'm a murderer?
I didn't raise a murderer.
What was that?
I don't know.
Somebody help! Help! Run!
The boy from the burbs, killed in front of his own house.
Tell me what happened so we can all go home.
He's dead, Coley. Get in the car.
You're being charged with murder in the first degree.
He's being persecuted because he's covered with blood with a dead kid at his feet.
I read somewhere that these two had beef.
In this town, they've already strung the news.
Chicago, the whole world is watching us right now.
If Coley Styles were white, would we be having this same discussion?
It's cool for me to prosecute the white man, but as soon as a white boy loses his life, now y'all want to come at me like this.
Where's the bullet?
Where's the gun?
They don't care about what I gotta say. In their mind, I did it.
Are you a God-loving man?
Yes.
Then you will be vindicated.
Once we love one another in spite of our differences, once we love one another in spite of our flaws, let them know I am with you. In spite of our.
And the reason I show this part here, guys, this is actually Kevin Mullens. He has a pretty big scene while they're in prison when the young man got locked up for killing his friend, or supposedly killing his friend, allegedly. And I won't spoil the movie for you guys, but make sure you check it out. You can Google Canal Street. It's funny, I was actually up the other day. We were trying to search for movies to look on our cable, and it popped up, and I started watching it again. So make sure you guys check it out. It's a phenomenal movie. This is Kevin Mullens here starring, and also the executive producer in the movie. I also have a clip here. This is Kevin Mullens' interview with Flacco from Wiz 97.9. I won't get too much into it, but I'll let you guys hear the opening part to it. Hold on.
97.9, the Wiz, the big station, home of the Rush Paul Morning Show. We back at it right here on the block with Flock. And I told you, man, we had a heck of a show for you today besides the Battlegrounds, besides the LNA report. We also, I told you we was having a special guest check in. Now, I went to the premiere for it in Augusta last Saturday, and it was sold out in both theaters. 6 and 7 was sold out. Matter of fact, I had to sit on the floor. So real talk, I kid you not, I had to sit on the floor because it was sold out to start watching the movie until somebody left and I got their seat. But Canal Street, out in Augusta now, Regal Cinemas, go check it. I ain't gonna lie, it's a tearjerker. I told you, I said, if you don't like the movie, I'll give you your money back out of my pocket. But I'm going to make you swear on the Bible, though, first, because, you know, you got to be honest. But anyway, with that being said, go check for it. And I told you we was going to have one of the executive producers on the phone. And we got Kevin Mullens checking in right now. Kevin, what's happening, dog?
Well, what's up, Flock, man? It's an absolute honor to be here with you tonight, man. Love everything that...
So that's a little bit of information about that. Now here he is again. You guys can see I pulled him up online. Kevin Mullens, entrepreneur. The guy's absolutely amazing. Making Kingdom Millionaires. You guys can see he's a profound speaker. Let's see here. You guys can see right here he's featured all the magazines and everything else. You can go down a little bit further and see we're here Forbes magazine where they covered him. Absolutely incredible, guys. My friend and brother. We're going to go ahead and bring him on right now. Are you there, Kevin?
I'm here, buddy.
How you doing, my friend?
Ah, man. I feel blessed. I feel honored. It's good to see your face. I know we talk on the phone often, but it's a privilege to be on this podcast, YouTube video, interview, man. Anything you're doing, I want to be a part of.
Well, I appreciate it. It means a lot to me, my friend. And let me actually go over here so I can get everybody on here to see you. There you go. Kevin Mullens. So one of the things I want to do, you know, we said a lot of things about you as far as the things that you've accomplished, but I definitely want to talk about what you mean to me. And, you know, I remember, again, being in the industry of speaking for many, many years, and then being able to see you speak for the first time. It like, not too many people give me goosebumps. Not too many people just draw you in when you can't turn your head. If a friend taps you on your shoulder, you don't want to look away. I mean, you're one of those type of speakers, man. And it's crazy because I walked away. Obviously, you know, I got into crypto and did very well. I had a lot of success in it. I shared that with you. And, you know, about 6 years ago, I think about 6 years ago, I walked away from the industry. And 6 or 7 years ago, actually, I walked away from the industry of speaking and that circuit. And a lot of the guys that, you know, I was connected to and close. Actually, me and you've probably stayed more connected. I get messages from you every day. Hey, brother, how you doing? Hey, man, love you. Hey, how's the family? I get videos, inspiration videos from you every day. And it just, no matter what seems to be going on, if I'm having a bad day with it just always seems to set the tone, man. And for those of you guys who are watching, you guys saw me share a video with Kevin. It was like in black and white, and it was just so amazing. Him talking about identifying your why. And I just thought it was so profound that I had to share it with the group. And so, Kevin, if we, you know, I'd just like to talk to you about your journey and speaking, a little bit about your background, and then, you know, how you got into movies and things like that. So I got a series of questions, but we can just kind of start what you're up to right now and how'd you get into the whole scene of speaking and motivating?
Man, you know, I love that question. First of all, I grew up in church, man. I mean, you know, anybody that probably comes to hear me, you know, most of the principles that I teach on creating wealth and a life of significance over just success really were rooted in a lot of my upbringing, man. You're reading from what, you know, one might call the good book. And so I grew up in ministry. I never forget the first time that I really felt that there was a calling on my life to impact people through conversation.
Right.
Is you might not know this about me, James, but I actually quit school at 15 years old, quit high school to start evangelizing, man. I don't know what I was thinking. I don't know what my mom and dad was thinking, man. You know, like I look back on that, I'm like, what was y'all thinking? But I was great at sports, but me in school just, you know, we didn't get along so well. The traditional format just didn't fit me very well. And so, man, I embarked out there to really try to speak in something. I'll never forget, man, that, you know, I was gung-ho, full of zeal. And what really helped me early on is the summer of that year that I left school, I got to be around a gentleman who's just a masterful speaker, a guy that's an incredible storyteller, knows how to harness the emotions in the information that he's trying to deliver. And he mentored me for about 3 years. Every summer I would go on the road with this guy. And so I think, you know, a lot of what we do in life is based on the people that we get to spend some time around.
That's right.
I've always been a big believer that, you know, mentorship is wisdom without pain, right? You have the ability to learn from someone that's conquered mountains you've never conquered before. And so I think when you're around people that are excellent at what they do, it forces you to raise the standard of whatever particular field that you're operating in. And so that's really kind of how I started. And I didn't always use it. You know, James, early on in life, I was a blue collar guy. I was in a lot of construction. That's what my grandfather was, what my dad was. And it wasn't until the recession, the economy collapsed in 2008, 9, and 10. I'm sure you remember that.
Exactly.
Real estate, banking, mortgage, all that stuff. But what that did is it forced me to get outside of the box of traditional thinking and start realizing, how do I monetize the things that God has deposited in me? And one of those was the ability to articulate, the ability to cast vision, the ability to lead other people, and to help people discover and develop everything that I feel God has deposited in their lives. And that really trailblazed a new path for me. And that became, I think, the very beginning of me just, once again, man, harnessing my gift on the smallest of platforms to eventually some of the biggest platforms.
Right.
And that all come through relationships. And that's how we got where we are today. And so, I will tell you, before we get to the next question, I think, no matter what you're gifted at, I think there are times you need rest. Like you talked about stepping away. I think there are times you need rest, or there's times you need to reset, times maybe you need to refocus or spend time with the family. I think sometimes when you're highly gifted and motivated and you're zero focused and targeted on specific things in life, it can also become easy to let a lot of other things in your life, go aside. And so there's been moments in my life, or even I myself has stepped away. But ultimately, I think when you've got a calling on your life to upgrade the atmospheres that you've been assigned to,
That's right.
I think you can never escape, once again, being in those spaces that that you're assigned to, because that it is there that the gift and talents that you've been given shine the brightest.
That's right. And, before I even get into some of the things that you've accomplished, including that amazing film that my wife I looked over and she was just tears everywhere. But before I get into that, there's something that you said as far as, I found myself after, again, being a traditional owner and being on some of the biggest stages around the world. And, we're trained as young people to go out there and try to make it, right? That's pretty much what I was taught. I come from a background of welfare and food stamps and poverty and projects and all. So I was so focused on winning success, making money. And I think you might have been one of the first people one of the people that definitely what you stand for, and that is when you identify your purpose. And there's such a big difference between purpose, being led by your purpose, and being led by money. And there's a point where, I'll be honest with you, Kevin, I was, traveling around speaking with some of our mutual friends that were speakers as well. Yep. And I would look up, and there's some things that I shared even with the group where I would sit on the stage. I would go back my day would be the next day, and I would dress down in jeans, which is so profound how you were, man. You always had a hat on, some jeans, and now I get it. I didn't get it before, but I get it now. Because everybody else had the suit and the ties and the cufflinks and the this and the that and the $1 million cuts and you sit in with the $500 shoes, and you look at them like, man, you're not me. I can't even relate to you what you're saying, because what you're saying, I can't relate to that, coming especially from my background. And so when I became a speaker, it was so, I was known. And I remember David Moses and a lot of these guys says, Chris I can't think of his name right now, but a lot of those guys were like, James, one thing that seems like you master is building relationships and connecting. That was so profound to me. And even in other companies that I used to represent and speak for, that was my thing. I wasn't going to be as good as this guy. I wasn't going to be as articulate as this guy, but I knew what it was to come from nothing. And so that was always my focus when connecting to people. Look, I'm just like you. And so I found myself at times where I would go back and wear some jeans and put on a hoodie, or put on a certain shirt with a vest and sit there and sit down on the stage talking to people, because I wanted to talk to them, not talk at them, and connect with them. And so one of the things that and I know you can, and I want you to comment on this, is when I found myself, Kevin, in my 40s, and I was traveling with these guys who were in their 50s, 60s sometimes, and they were speaking, and a couple things kind of came to fruition for me when I saw guys that, off the stage. I would talk about their family. Oh, I barely see my wife. It's okay. We have an understanding. What about your daughter? I have no relationship with my kids whatsoever. And I was sitting there, and then I'm thinking to myself, I might be in South America. I might be traveling around the world, and I'm sitting there going, I just missed my daughter's homecoming queen. I just missed my son getting the Barack Obama award. I just missed this and that academic. I just missed, and I'm sitting there going, and then I would be with these guys on stage, and we would be, sometimes the audience might have been 500 to 5,000 to 15,000, whatever it might have been. And all I hear is, they're talking about the rings, and they're talking about how much money they're making. I found myself becoming unattracted to the whole situation. And then I thought to myself, my God, man, I'm doing the very thing that my dad did. Chase money to the day he died. I'm starting looking, is that going to be me at 50 and 60 years old? Am I going to be that person? And I think that's one of the reasons that I said, man, I'm missing the most important things. And before I turn it over to you, it's something that Steve Jobs said, and it was an article, I know you might have read it. I posted it during the time that we were connected. He says, all the things that I've accomplished, and I'm sure you probably saw the article. He said, I'm sitting here looking at a machine. Red means I'm in trouble. Green means I'm okay. And he goes, this is what my life's come down to. And he goes, everyone wants to praise me for all the things I've done. He goes, but I missed the simple things, family, time, enjoying the little things. And so that was so profound to me when I read that. I remember getting teary-eyed going, my God, what am I doing? And that was one of the reasons that I decided to move on and have those moments that you can't get back with your kids. I mean, I've got kids now getting their doctorates in college and stuff, and it's like little moments that I almost missed. And now we have the best relationships because I made that decision. So if you can just kind of, I know it's a lot, but if you can kind of touch on that from your perspective.
Yeah, I think anybody that's an entrepreneur, right, people that have a high level of drive in their life, it's easy to get sidetracked. I mean, I've been sidetracked. I mean, nobody's perfect in this journey of pursuing excellence, and especially this, something as financial freedom, right? Because if it was that easy, then everybody have a 9 to 5, and I know people that have 9 to 5s and still don't spend time with their kids.
That's right. That's right.
So I think that's a delicate conversation, because I think to some degree, right, there are times in your life where if you're launching a business or let's say that you're a musician, you're on tour or whatever. I think there are times in life when you're pursuing, those achievements and accolades that eventually obviously transfer into some sort of financial equity. I think maybe there's times in our life maybe we're all a little bit maybe unbalanced.
That's right.
But I think it's remembering what you mentioned earlier in the conversation, though, and that's that word purpose. And one of the things I learned early on is that even in the pursuit of things I knew that might even take me away for a little bit, I always made sure up front, James, that I sat down with my family and involved them in the vision, so that it wasn't them waiting on me to get home thinking that it was all about Kevin and nothing about them. I made sure that they understood, one, do you approve of me doing this? Here's what would be required of me to do this. And then two, the reason I'm pursuing this is this. And so let's collectively come together and figure out what are the things that we want that we currently can't afford, can't do.
That's right.
I don't care if that's trips or helping people in your community, granting scholarships in your little town. Like you, I come from a, little, it would have been called white trash, a little, trailer park that I come from.
Right.
So I didn't know anybody that had nothing, right? But I think that purpose is connected to what you called your why. And I think ultimately sometimes people get really confused because their why becomes monetary things.
That's right.
And, it becomes money, or it becomes a house, it becomes a car. Those things are fleeting, right? They just come and go.
That's right.
But I think when you become the type of person, you mentioned earlier, dressing at some point in your career, dressing down to maybe the hoodie and the jeans and just sitting down on stage. What that really was authenticity.
Right.
That's you being vulnerable, right? And that's a superpower, man, because that's what makes you relatable. And ultimately, it also is what makes you irresistible, and also someone that can be trusted, because you don't come across as the type of person that's trying to sell somebody on a pipe dream where you're, selling a curriculum to make millions of dollars when you yourself, your entire life is a wreck and completely in mess. We're sitting down coming from the perspective of failure, right? We're not afraid to dive into some of the dark chapters of our life. And I think that's one of the maybe superpowers that I've had over my career, is being able to articulate maybe complicated things, but at a common man's level, because that's my level. And that becomes believable. It becomes trustworthy. And I think that boils down to the thing that you also mentioned, which is relationships, which in my opinion, I believe relationship is, look at there, man, my son's cat's trying to get in the picture. I believe relationships is the highest. Crazy, man. You mentioned your kids going for PhDs. I'm here at Cornell University, an Ivy League school, where one of my twins from my little redneck town is up here. Both of my twins are pursuing their PhD, but one of them's up here at Cornell. And I wish I could take credit for that, but man, they get all that from their mama.
Wow.
But relational equity, that to me is the highest form of wealth. You could take all my money. I'm not afraid of losing the money.
That's right.
Because if you have a skill or you know how to do something right, then ultimately at the end of the day, you could do it again in a different industry.
That's right.
You know, but for me, relational equity is the one thing that I think supersedes all forms of income because, you know, James, you have 6 kids, right?
6 kids. That's right.
And I have 3 boys and 2 granddaughters.
Wow.
Right. I would rather leave my children a book of connections, a book of addresses instead of money.
That's right.
Because money can come and go with bad decisions.
Right.
Right. But if they got in a tight and needed to call somebody, I've been privileged to develop connections with everybody from, you know, billionaires to movie producers to actors to world-class speakers to entrepreneurs to innovators to ministries all over the world. And the one thing that they have in common with me is a level of trust because they know that if they give me a seat at the table, Lord, he's just going to get in here.
No, that's okay.
No, it's okay. But they know that if they give me a seat at the table, I don't have an agenda. That my real desire in life is to partner with them to help them achieve their vision and to see how I could serve in the fulfillment of that vision. There you go. That's Milo.
That's priceless, man. That cat is so determined.
That's Milo, man.
Hey,
that's Milo.
Even the pets, even the animals around you are motivated, man. That's
yeah, I've knocked him off the couch 4 times, and he don't care, man.
Before you continue, there's something I want to. You just said. I remember sitting watching you speak, and again, this is not an attack on anyone else, but I watch other people speak, and people in the audience are speaking while they're speaking because people just can't connect to everybody. People can't connect when you're sitting way up and you're talking about I've made millions and I've got these rings and I've got all,
right.
and then all of a sudden you come on and you start speaking. And as a speaker, I'm there to learn. That sometimes what makes some of the best leaders is always being a sponge to learn. And you would get up and start speaking, and I look at your outfit, and don't get me wrong, you still look like $1 million, but just in a different way. And you start speaking, and it was you hit people in the heart. I look around, no one's talking, and I'm going, good Lord. And I remember seeing you for the first time. I said, who in the heck is this guy? Like, who is this guy? And I mean, people are standing all around the doggone walls watching. I mean, and as soon as it's funny because when you get off the stage, you see people walk out the room. Before you get on stage, it's maybe not as packed. And I'm not saying that to gas you up. I'm just saying, like, out of all the events that I've seen you speak at, everyone's running. What time is Kevin Mullens on? And it's just, I think that's when so I said, okay, well, let me see and see if I could take some things from this guy. And that's what it was always about, connecting to people first. And I think that's one of the biggest things I've ever learned from you, man.
No, listen, I think that's the most valuable thing that we can learn in business and life. And man, in family. I mean, come on, man. You talked about, having the best time of your life now with your children, right? I think it's that level of connectivity. I mean, that the human level, right? At the heart level, I think that really allows people to see, man, that you're someone that is believable, not because you may have all the answers, but because you're the type of person that won't leave them in the trenches, like when life falls apart. You mentioned earlier speaking with people and then losing those relationships because at that time, you might have just been an asset during that period of their life. Mm-hmm. And I know people come and go, right? Not everybody in our life is designed to live in every chapter of our life. And that's another lesson as well, too, I think sometimes is understanding how to connect, but also learning how to disconnect. There's also people in our life that are making more withdrawals than deposits, right? And so there are people we need to disconnect from. But I think for me, whether we're talking about the person, at the gas station or whether we're talking about the person, it's a janitor. I just had this conversation. You mind if I tell you a little story that just happened to me to prove a point?
We got all the time, yes.
I'll tell you a story. So 2 weeks ago, I was speaking in Orlando at a high-ticket leadership event, and I was the last speaker, so I was the closing keynote speaker. And it was a group of maybe 500, but people that obviously paid a lot of money to get in the room, and there were 4 or 5 different speakers. And I came in, I was dressed exactly like this. I came in, I spoke less, I had an hour and a half. And I kept noticing a guy on the front row, just guy on the front row. He looked familiar to me, but he was, people draw on you. And sometimes you can just feel that presence, that energy shifting. And after I got through, the crowd was moved, man. I mean, it was a powerful meeting. You could tell that it was a time of complete impartation.
Right.
But this particular gentleman asked, could he get up and speak? And so the person that was hosting the event knew him. And he said, yeah, he said, you can have 5 or 10 minutes. He said, I think he wanted it to end the way it did. But he said, man, yeah, he said, I'll let you get up. The guy got up and listen to this. He said, first of all, he said, I want to talk about what just transpired in this room today with Kevin Mullens. And he said, I want to tell you a story. He said, because I've learned a great lesson here today. He said Kevin Mullens in 1996 was my plumbing contractor.
What?
Yeah.
Are you serious?
Yeah. I owned the plumbing business. He said in 1996, he said, I haven't seen Kevin since 1997. He says, and I'm going to tell you something. He said, so I want you all to learn a lesson. He said in 1996, he said, Kevin was my plumbing contractor. He said, in my mind, he said, Kevin was a plumbing contractor, would always be a plumbing contractor, and he would never be anything else. He said, in 2 occasions in my life, one at a church he had and another one at his home, he said, I remember not engaging with Kevin, looking down at Kevin, and to some degree thinking I was better than Kevin. He said, so for me, it was just a transaction, right? He's my plumber. He comes, he fixes something, I pay him. And he said, here's what's even crazier. He said, for the last 9 years, I have submitted my resume to be a keynote speaker at this conference, and I've been turned down every year.
Wow. Isn't that
He said, this year, he said, I see my plumbing contractor from 1996 be the keynote closing speaker of my favorite conference in the entire world that I pay a lot of money to get to. And he said, and I'm looking up there, and he said, the Lord said to me, he said, stop overlooking people.
That's right. That's right.
And I think that's what's hard sometimes with life, right, is that destiny is often camouflaged in our life because people only see you in the season of life that you're in.
That's right.
And so if you're pumping someone's gas, right, if you're a hairdresser, it's hard for someone, it's difficult for people in your network to ever really see the size of the dream you have or the desire, the burning desire that's inside of you to make a difference in your life and ultimately other people's. And so because of that, we're often misunderstood. You know, when you think about little David was seen by his own brothers as just a shepherd boy. I mean, that's all they could see him as, right? I mean, Joseph's brothers, when he announced that he had a dream, he was hated by his brothers, but all they could see was a 17-year-old kid. And I think this is the lesson for all of us to learn, is that when you're seated beside someone, or when there's delay in your life, or you have a layover, or something didn't go your way, you have to start looking around, man, and start thinking, man, who is in this room that I need to connect with, or who is at this event that I need to connect with? Because the next greatest keynote speaker, millionaire, billionaire, may be somebody at your local golf club, could be somebody at your church serving in the back of the room, but they may have a great anointing on their life to make a significant impact.
That's right.
And so that's why we got to treat people well. We got to treat people right. We got to love on people in whatever season of life they're in. And ultimately, those connections and those relationships, as I say, are the highest form of equity in our life, because at some point in your journey, when you've treated people right, stayed in touch, did everything in your power to make things right and forgive, reconcile, move on, ultimately there'll come a time in your life where that person that you helped may now be your banker, right? Maybe the person that's making a decision over your future. And so that's a lesson all of us can learn.
Well, you know, it's so funny you said that, and as you said it just hit me right in the side of the head, because it's amazing how, like you said, and I think that's, you just kind of gave the definition of what I felt about the situation back in the day when I was saying how people you were with back in the day you really don't affiliate with anymore, for whatever the reason may be. Maybe because they didn't make you feel as special as you felt in that moment based off of how it benefited them, right? And I think that's what's so amazing is, you know, when you look up and I found myself in a position where I had created millions of dollars and you know, mentored a lot of people, man. I mean, the things that my wife is actually on here right now. We traveled the world and we were sought after, Kevin. I mean, I was sitting in a room with people who were worth millions upon millions, athletes, NFL players. And they're like, Jay, just teach us what you've done. Because there's a time that we were bringing in some crazy, you know, money, and we were super blessed. And I would have people reach out to me from that group of people that we know. And I just couldn't hear them, man. I couldn't hear them, and I couldn't hear them because what you just said right now, they didn't value what we had only at that moment, but not throughout the process of even being not connected at that, you know, thereafter. And the fact that every time you message me, every time you call, even though, you know, we were part of the same movement in what we were doing as far as speaking, but I was much closer to other people. And those people are not someone, I wouldn't put myself in a position if they say, hey man, I need a little help. Hey man, can you do this? Hey man, would you like to look at, hey guy, would you come over here and meet me over there? Or could you donate to this? I'm not hearing it, but for some reason, you know, you've been able to master that, and I think that's why we stay connected, and that's why I have so much love and appreciation for you, because you know, you were one of those guys. I remember when I was coming up in the, and I've been in the industry for a while, but how you would walk up and you'd be like, hey man, I appreciate you. I love what you do. And I'm just like, yeah, it's like meeting, you know, it's like meeting LeBron if you're a basketball player. Like you were like my LeBron, right? And I'm sitting there going, this dude, and people don't realize how those little words of encouragement or those things of appreciation goes a long way. And that's why you're on this call. That's why I'll listen to anything you say, because it was authentic and it was real. And it was, you know, when if I say, hey, this is my big bro, you say, hey, you're my brother, I really know you mean that. Like right now, I don't know when the last time I told you I had 6 kids. Years ago. It's like for you to remember. I'm saying, even when you said, I was like, what did he just say? Like, how did he remember those things? So that you know, that means a lot, man. And it means a lot that I had the opportunity to work with you. And also, I want to go into, well, I'll just kind of go with that, let you answer that first before going into the movie. So just, if you don't mind, talk about how we met and our connection.
Yeah, man. You know, I think the first time I really got to spend quality time with you was at an event in maybe Sacramento.
Okay.
We had met obviously before that, right? At larger events.
That's right.
I think the first time I really got to spend some quality time with you was then. And, you know, I think one of the things that you learn in life, and maybe it's more conducive to ministry, but I think as you develop an entrepreneurial skill, it's very important. And I call it the gift of discernment.
That's right.
You know, I've been April the 6th coming up in a few days. I'll be married 32 years.
Congratulations. That's
amazing. And yeah, thank you, man.
April what?
6th.
Oh God, 4 days later is me and my wife, April 10th. That's amazing.
Come on, man. So much in common here. So the reason I bring that up, right, is I've been around you and your lovely wife, and oftentimes my wife is very quiet. And the few times I've had the privilege of being around you and your family together, right, she can be quiet at times. Don't mean she is quiet, right, but oftentimes wives have a tendency to have this innate ability to discern people a lot quicker sometimes than business people can. Because sometimes if I'm trying to do business, I only see the business plan, the business strategy, or the end result.
That's right.
And so if I'm getting ready to make a big move in life, man, I almost, if it's possible, I make them have dinner with me and my wife.
That's right.
Because I know, man, she has that superpower to really see through all the garbage.
That's right.
And to really look at the character of a person. And she's kept me out of so much trouble in my life. But the reason I bring that up is because mine might not be as accurate as hers, but I definitely have an ability to discern certain people and maybe their agendas. And it was very clear to me the very first time that we even started conversing on a consistent basis that your agenda was never money.
No.
Yeah, you've made millions of dollars. I have too. I've lost millions of dollars, right? But your agenda was never money. It doesn't mean you wouldn't appreciate, you know, the accolades and the awards and all the things, because we seek that as humans in life, to be honored and respected and valued, as you said. But there was an absolute transparency about you, that it was never about being the main person, that you didn't have to be the person in charge. Which is why even when I did Canal Street, man, I couldn't think of any better person to try to bring in as an extra voice, because you're skilled in so many areas I'm not skilled in. And so for me, the very first time that I really started spending quality time with you, first of all, you talked about your wife and kids more than you did business.
That's right.
That's always a good sign of character.
That's
I mean, you were constantly bragging about what they were doing. I think I found out your wife was basically like the Mariah Carey in Secret before I ever even met her, you know. And but that, you know, when you hear people converse, there's something I always say, right, that if you hang around someone long enough, right, that conversation reveals what's on their heart. Maybe not the first conversation, but the more time you spend with people, it doesn't take very long, because whatever's written on the template of your heart eventually comes out. I could say it like this: whatever is in you abundantly is going to come out eventually.
That's right.
And so it was very clear that you were about family, that you were about purpose, that you were about mission, that you were about significant, even over success, that how you did something mattered more than just doing it.
That's right.
And so I wanted to be connected to you because I felt that from you from the very moment, and which is also one of the reasons I stayed in touch with you, because when we navigate life, we all get zeroed in on whatever is important at that moment in our life. And I once again, you never want to leave, I think, a closed door with people that may never do business with you, may never write a check for your vision or anything along those lines. But man, life is too short not to be connected to good people, because at the end of the day, we live life at the level of our partnerships.
That's right.
The company that you keep determines what accompanies you. And so that's why I've stayed in touch, man. From the minute I met you, I could tell that there was something in you that was greater than, once again, the money, greater than even the business. There was something about you that was so transparent that you could see that you had a heart to reach back down and help people have a glimpse, if not have a fighting chance to really obtain some of the success you've had in life.
Yes, absolutely. And, that means the world to me, man. I'm sitting here with just goosebumps on top of goosebumps. And just things that you said, like my wife singing. I mean, it just means a lot when people remember and pay attention to the details. And I think that's one of the things that has always had me follow you, talk about you, learn from you is that sincerity and humbleness and just what you stand for. And I remember now getting into the movie part of it when I heard about Canal Street, and it was by this African-American brother who worked at a movie theater, selling popcorn, and had a vision, and then he connects with someone like you, obviously to create that vision. And I remember hearing the story and what it was about and seeing the trailer. I'm going, oh my God, how can I be a part of this? And it just seemed so far-fetched, even though I had experience with Alan Autry, which I don't know if you remember Alan Autry. He was the Sheriff Bubba in Heat of the Night with Carol, whatever, I can't remember the guy's name, but he was a big old Sheriff Bubba. Well, that was my acting coach. And so I went to acting school, and I wrote a script that when I had Antoine Tanner on and Robert Rashad this last week on Sunday, we were talking about one of our good friends that passed away, Coolio. I'm sure you remember Coolio. And Coolio passed away, and I was just talking about what it meant to me, because I wrote a movie, I wrote a script that I was never able to come out with. And at that time, I was so busy in that world that me and you were in, and I was having so much success in that world that me and you were in at the time. And I was part of another company that I was top 10. I mean, top 10 in every category. And I remember Coolio, they came out, we played a celebrity game. He goes, I had all these guys, all these actors. I just picked them up from the airport. It was Coolio, Robert Rashad, Khalil Kane, a lot of these guys, Antoine Tanner, and I was telling them about this movie idea, and then Coolio told everybody in the truck to stop talking. He said, hey, calm down for a second. He said, turn on the radio. He goes, I want to hear what this movie's about. I told him about the movie, Kevin, and I'm gonna just tell you how amazing people are, and just how God works. He told me to talk about this movie, and it's a basketball themed movie, and it's called Hypnotized. Maybe you'll talk about it off air one of these days. But I wrote the movie and just never did anything with it from perspective of a basketball player. When he heard the movie, he goes, "What?" He goes, "You wrote that?" I said, "Yeah." He goes, "First of all, don't ever tell anybody that story again." He goes, "Because you never want to tell your idea in front of a bunch of people, especially people in the." He goes, "There's a bunch of actors and stuff in this truck." He goes, "But never do that." He says, "But I trust these guys." He goes, "Number two is," he goes, "I'm going to have someone from the industry call you." And I'm just thinking, all right, and I've played with Cooley. I know he had a brother out in Fresno and all that kind of stuff. So we went on and played ball, and they took off. And a couple months later, he calls me up, and he goes, "James," and he sounded like he's a little ticked off at me. I'm like, "Yeah, what's up, man?" He goes, "This is Cooley." I said, "Okay, what's up, man?" He actually called me from a restricted number. That's why it caught me off guard, because I don't typically pick up private numbers. So he goes, "This is Cooley." I said, "Oh, what's up, man? What's going on?" And I said, "It's been been some months that passed by." He goes, "Hey, man, tell me you didn't sell that movie to Shaquille O'Neal." I'm like, and it threw me. I said, "Shaquille? Why would I sell my movie to Shaquille O'Neal?" He goes, "Shaq just bought some movie out of your area. It was actually Bakersfield, not Fresno." And he goes, "I wondered if you sold that movie." I said, "No, man, no, it's just sitting on my laptop." He goes, "Okay, man, I feel good." I said, "No, man, I mean, you called me upset about," "No," I said, "I told you, I'm waiting for you to let me know what's going on." I said, "What are you up to?" He goes, I remember this vividly. That's why I can't forget it. He goes, I'm in a bathtub taking a bubble bath." I said, "First of all, what grown man calls another grown man while taking a bubble bath ticked off?" So that was kind of our little insight.
Coolio?
Yeah, Coolio, yeah. So that went on, and then like a month after that, maybe a few weeks or a month after that, I get this call from this guy. I'm like, "Hello, is this James McCullough?" "Yes, it is." And he goes, "Oh, I'm calling on behalf of I'm this and that producer. I'm doing some movie with Coolio. He told me to reach out to you about your movie." I'm like, so he asked me to get the rough draft, which I'm sure you would know, like send in a rough draft. And I said, "Okay." And I was just so, oh my gosh. So I started reaching out to people I knew who were like into screenwriting. He went to screenwriting school, and we started the process, but I never finished it. I got back into my busy mindset in life. and never finished it. And that's kind of the story. I never finished it, and we've kept in contact. And he asked me, "Hey, did you get?" I said, "He called me, man, but I'm gonna get back with him. And I just never did. I procrastinated. And then obviously, he passed here not too long ago. So we were just talking about that with Antoine Tanner and Robert Shaw, which they both starred in Coach Carter. He was Samuel Jackson's son and stuff like that. So we're all good buddies from our celebrity days. So the point I'm trying to make is that I remember when you talked about this movie, I wanted to be a part of the film because I donated money to Alan Autry's. It was called The Legend of Jake Kincaid that he did in the Fresno area. And there's another movie that I was a part of as well that I actually had a little small scene in. So when I heard Canal Street, I was like, oh my gosh, I want to be a part of this. And I walked up to you, I started talking to you. Next thing you know, I'm at the YMCA National Convention with Patti Smith, which is Emmitt Smith's wife. You allowed me to be a part of the project. Ryan flies out to my house. I'm just sitting there going, this dude is phenomenal. So it just again, it goes back to how important relationships are and how important the people that you meet and you stay connected with, because it was just a great experience, man. And I'm so proud of what you accomplished with that, and to see you acting in that and being the producer of that. So if you could talk about maybe about what I just said on that, and also just the movie and how you got started with that whole thing.
It's wild. I hate to even stay on this subject of relationships, but really that's how it all started. I was coming back from South Korea, and this is going to sound petty, so don't anybody judge me. I'm serious. I probably shouldn't tell this, but I don't have a lot of needs in life. Really, I'm a pretty simple guy. I live in a modest house, drive a truck, love hunting, fishing, that kind of stuff.
Right.
But because I speak so much, if I fly international, I fly first class.
Right.
And I do so not because someone can think something of me, but because, man, you spend 21, 22 hours heading to Asia. Being able to lay down and sleep means that when I land, you'll at least get a rested version of me.
That's right.
And I tell you this part of my story to tell you that I was a little bit cranky because for whatever reason on my flight back, they messed up, oversold, all kinds of stuff. I don't know how it happened. I ended up not being first class. And then when I got to Atlanta to fly back to my little town, there was an extensive layover, almost like 6 hours. So I was miserable. It's not like me. Anybody that knows me, I'm a joyful guy, even in moments of adversity. But man, I was just worn out.
That's right.
Well, I get on this plane to fly back to my little airport near me. They don't even have first class. I'm thinking I'll at least get first class on the way home because I paid for it.
That's right.
This little Canadair jet don't even have first class. So I'm setting all this up to show you, once again, you got to be careful about moods. You got to be careful about the environment you're in, because I end up getting seated first class with a gentleman that's beside me. Come to find out, he was also coming in from out of the country and was also a little bit put off by the whole situation. And long story short, generally, when you fly, somebody puts their headphones on, they don't want to be messed with.
That's right.
And so we sat down beside one another. We both put our headphones on. I crossed my legs, and for whatever reason, I had a brand of socks on that he just popped off one side and said the name of the sock. That led to a conversation.
Wow.
So get this. That was Amir Wyndham. Amir Wyndham is one of the youngest cats in the entire music industry. Signed Bruno Mars. He co-wrote Happy with Pharrell.
Wow.
The guy's, once again, one of the youngest African-American creatives in the field of A&R that has ever been. Massively successful, doing music supervision for big, large movie hits and stuff.
Right.
So we're sitting there just communicating. First time we ever meet.
Right.
And we get off the plane, and you're going to love this, man. We get off the plane, and all of a sudden there's a person standing in the airport, and he's like, Kevin? And I'm like, what's up, man? And then he turns around and sees Amir, and he says, Amir Wyndham? He knew both of us.
Wow.
Now, this person that I'm talking about is Play from Kid and Play. His name, of course, is Christopher Martin.
Yeah.
And so I've done some stuff with Christopher Martin. He lives near me.
Okay.
And so Play is standing there getting ready to fly to do a 90s event, right, with Kid and Play.
Right.
He knows both me and Amir. Well, that was enough for Amir. There's relationships again. There was enough for me and him to even connect greater. Well, out of the plane comes the director that flew to your house, Ryan Lamar.
Oh wow!
Now he's back in the back. Now here's where it gets crazier, man. You never know the impact you're going to have. Just like this YouTube channel.
That's right.
Here's a lesson to learn why you should stay dedicated to putting out your information.
Yes, sir.
He comes out of the plane and he says, "Kevin Mullens," and I'm like, I'm embarrassed because I don't know him.
Wow.
And I don't like that feeling. I don't know who Ryan is.
You didn't know him at
all.
all.
I said, yeah. No, I had no idea. And I said, yeah, man. I said, man, you're going to have to forgive me, man. I said, I've flown in from South Korea. I said, can you remind me? I said, how do we know each other? He said, man, you don't know me. And I felt better then, right? He said, you don't know me. He says, the reason I know you is, he said, that I was going through a low moment in my life where I was homeless. I was depressed. And my sister sent me one of your YouTube videos of you preaching.
Wow.
And he said, I have watched that video like 9 or 10 times at a very low moment in my life. My sister sent me a video of you talking. That's why I know who you are.
Wow.
And I thought to myself, man, how crazy is that? Well, that led to me mentoring him, which then led to me figuring out how incredibly gifted he was as a director and also a screenwriter. And I fell in love with the fact that there was this young man that had paid his dues and deserved to have good content be made. He was just missing a few ingredients on the business side. And we ended up actually doing 3 movies together, and I've done a lot of music videos together since then. And so I bring all that up to bring that goes right back to purpose. First of all, it was a message created out of purpose that reached that young man at a time in his life where he needed it. Play was also a moment of purpose where we got connected at an event of mentorship that was connected to FAMU University in Tallahassee, Florida. And all of that was around people really collectively just wanting to upgrade lives, change lives, create stuff that had meaning. Amir was the same kind of person. He wanted to sign artists that wasn't just putting out a bunch of more junk for the youth to listen to. He wanted to put out stuff that had feel-good music and messages of hope and positivity. And that collectively, it's almost like you could see the invisible hand of God. All of these years, we all were from so many different directions, including you and me.
That's right.
And yet all of our chapters were leading up to a specific moment of destiny where we were put in the same room together. But think about what would have happened had we not gravitated towards one another, made that connection, and then stayed in connection. And so I still stay in touch with Ryan. Him and his team are doing a lot of stuff without me. Still connected to Amir. Me and him's getting ready to be making a movie about his mom, which is a powerful story, man. A powerful story. I'll tell you more about that. We might could use your help.
Okay.
But at the end of the day, just briefly, Canal Street currently, if you have Amazon Prime, it's a part of Prime. It can probably be viewed other places. But even though it's, now going on about 4 years old, 5 years old, I think 4 maybe, 2019, right? So 4 years old. I think it's still relevant in today's, social climate, and it's very powerful. And I think it's a conversation starter. And that's the kind of stuff I want to be a part of, is just whether it's a book, whether it's, owning a company or a business, whether it's speaking. I want to be a part of something that leaves lives better than the way we found them. I also want to live in such a way, much like Dan Clark says it. You remember Dan Clark from our speaking time.
Oh, yeah.
I love the way he said, you live in such a way that when you leave people's presence, people say, I'm better off when I'm with you. And that's how I want to live my life.
That's right. And Dan Clark is awesome, man. I remember we were traveling together, and I was on the phone with my wife, and he grabbed the phone from my wife and started talking to her. Hey, what's up? This is James' wife. Oh, what an incredible guy. I just started I started laughing, and my wife was like, who's this guy? But no, definitely appreciate that. And it's crazy when you say that you inspire somebody from a YouTube video that was sent to them by a family member, that then somehow you guys connected, mentored him. Now, not only did you help him with his vision in creating a movie and movies, but when I talked to Ryan, because I think his mother caught COVID, he was one of the people that was supposed to be a speaker on the show. He's off doing other films, and so he's like, man, I got this film, and I'm working on that film. And it's crazy how someone who at one point who just wasn't in a good place, but then who was inspired by you, met you, saw you randomly, and told you what you meant to him, and then all of a sudden, because of that connection, he's flying in to have dinner with me and my family, and I'm working on the movie. I'm just sitting there going, man, it's just crazy, and it all goes back to that one of the greatest things in the world is called relationships, man. It's just crazy. And I always tell people, that said, James, what business were you in? And I said, I was in a hugging, kissing, and kissing, hugging business. I was in a relationship.
I love it.
That's what it was all about for me. And like you said, it wasn't about the money. I remember one time, I'll share a quick story, Jerem and Tom, you remember those guys. And they're like, James, but if you just keep doing that. And I said, man, they were talking about things I would have achieved if I just got a, few more people involved, or whatever the case may be. I won't get too much into that, but I said I'm not worried about that. I'm not worried about this and that. I said that's not important to me. That will come by default based off of the things that I continue to do right. And I remember Jeremy, you don't care about that title? I said no, that doesn't mean anything to me, man, because if I chase that, I'm doing it for the wrong reasons. And I think at that moment is when I got the respect from him and those guys, and also rest in peace, Ryan. I know we lost a good friend, or someone who was special to both of us, Ryan Palmer. So definitely rest in peace to that young man. That was a tragic event that just happened some months ago, and his family. So prayers out to him and his family. But no, man, I mean, it's just amazing how that story is incredible. I never knew that about you, brother. I never knew that with Kid and Play. I never knew that that's how you met Ryan. And it just speaks volumes about who you are. So I hope everybody here can appreciate who this guy is. Kevin, can you just talk about how people can find you if they want to just get some of the stuff that I get every single day? What platforms you're on, anything like that you can share?
Yeah, man. I mean, it's pretty simple. I'm not a big social media guy, so about the only place I post faithfully on is Instagram. It's if you look me up, it's the initials of my company. So it's CTV LLC, which stands for Catch the Vision, which is my business. So if you just look up CTV LLC, you'll find me on Instagram. If you go to my website, kevinmullens.com, and that's Mullens spelled with an E, all of my books are there. You can get them on Amazon as well, but the ones on my website are a lot cheaper for a reason. They're just for PDF electronic downloads for people that are really, man, just, once again, want the information. Maybe they're limited in their budget, but the information would still be valuable to them. All of my stuff is rooted in faith, whether I'm talking about finance, whether I'm talking about success, whether I'm talking about leadership, because I realize that, we've got to live in such a way that also honors something much bigger than us.
That's right. That's right.
And I think that's what also keeps us, grounded. I think it keeps us humble to realize that, the minute that we think we really have accomplished something.
That's right. That's right.
Oh, Lord,
that's right.
the minute the ego, seems to be creeping around the corner, right? You got to have something that reminds you, man, that life is just a series of events and good decisions and bad decisions. And like we've been talking about relationships, but yeah, those are the two easiest places to find me: kevinmullens.com, Instagram. And I don't have a YouTube channel, and I don't really do anything on too many other platforms, but it's not difficult, but you'd have to look for me just a little bit.
No, and I'm gonna definitely share you and the different ways of reaching you with the family here. Also, with the people that are watching, we got quite a few people watching actually right now. A lot of love being sent out your way. I wouldn't be who I am if I didn't ask you this question, and so answer it however you can. But I know there's a lot of crazy stuff going on right now in our world, Kevin. I know you're paying attention to the banking system that's collapsing in front of us, and it really does validate the need for what I'm involved in, which is digital assets. Yep. It's it's funny because we looked at this thing, and I don't know when you saw Bitcoin, but I know before me and you even met, I was at a convention, and at that convention it was a Bitcoin event. Now I didn't know anything about Bitcoin. I remember walking through the convention, and it had this orange and white deal Bitcoin, and on the table were these cards with a QR code that you could actually get like a little bit of Bitcoin. At the time, it was so cheap, and I remember they were everywhere. People had knocked them on the floor and around the table, and I picked one up, and I remember looking at the card, and I was walking, reading it, and it just, to me, like you had to do this and go, and I was very computer illiterate. So it was like you had to go do this and download this, and I think you got like 5 Bitcoin or like they were worth almost nothing at that time. This is many years ago. Might have been in 9 or 10 or something or 8. It was just, I've been speaking for a long time, but I remember dismissing it. And then as it did come up in my head, it was black this and dark web and all these things that people were talking about. And I wish I had somebody, as I'm sure you would have just said, hey James, pay attention to this, because that's all it would have taken. Because back then I owned businesses, I had plenty of money. I had just sold a lot of my stores back at that time that were 6-figure sales. We had a chain of cell phone stores that I just sold. And at that time, I was trying to figure out what to do with my mom. I was out like every little ignorant little son of a gun in their 30s, buying Hummers and Jaguars and stuff that didn't really matter. So God knows I could have afforded $1,000 worth of Bitcoin, which would probably change my life earlier. But to see where it's at today, Kevin, to see people like Michael Saylor from MicroStrategy, to see people like Kathy Wood at ARK Investments, to see some of the greatest minds like Elon Musk and some of the greatest people, whether it's Jeff Bezos and all these different people that are embracing this, in countries like El Salvador, it was like one of those moments where I felt like I woke up and I saw the Matrix for what it is. And I didn't even understand I was in a Matrix. And I say this, and I want you to respond to this. I realized that we were in financial slavery, right? And I say that because of just how our governments treat us, and people get caught up in all these races. I say, you know what? If there's ever a time that we need to come together as people, it's right now, because we're the ones that being taken advantage of. Whether it's the banking, what they're doing with our money, I could put 100,000 in, but if I want 5,000 out or 10,000, I got to go sign these papers and report myself and all these things. So for me, it's like I didn't really understand how corrupt the system was and how messed up it was until I got into digital assets. And then to be put in a blessed situation that I became a student, something that me and you do every time we do anything. I became a student of the game, and was able to create life-changing, the thing that I've been chasing my whole life, where I looked at my wife and I said, whatever you want to do, let's go do it. And a few years ago, that started in Hawaii. Then we went to Vegas, and I started buying land and buying this and buying. My wife's on the stream right now, and I remember her looking up at me and going, I feel like I'm living in a dream. And that dream is because of digital assets and crypto. And so I want you to comment on your experience with it, how you feel about it, and how you feel about what's going on around this world right now, where it's getting so chaotic with all the, the stuff. I don't know if you go as far as like, Sam Bankman-Fried, and one of the biggest scams of all times, and now celebrities are getting sued. And these people, I mean, it's coming to a head where we can't trust our banking system. We don't know where the dollar's going to be valued at 5 or 10 years from now. It's just getting scary, man. And so with all that, I want to get your take on just all the confusion and what crypto means to you, if you have any involvement whatsoever.
Yeah, absolutely. I am not a guy that considers myself a expert at any world of finance. What I do consider myself a guy is very skilled at making money.
That's right.
And then very skilled at placing my money in the hands of people that understand those spaces more than me, whether it be crypto, whether it be foreign exchange, whether it be the metaverse, right? But at the same time, it's also having enough knowledge and understanding, I think, to really, for me to be maybe less knowledgeable on how everything works as in details, and at least aware of what's going on. And much like you, I saw the handwriting on the wall years ago, and should have saw it decades ago.
Right.
Because when you're raised in a closed thinking environment, low level thinking, right, poverty mentality type stuff, everything's a conspiracy.
That's right.
Everything's a risk. Don't worry about it. The government's going to take care of you, which we all internally know how fabricated that is. And what I see changing, brother, is that at the end of the day, whatever the world was probably 100 years ago as relates to the masses is going to be the same again.
Right.
There's a statement out there that says you could take all the money in the entire world, you could divide it equally, and in less than 5 years, it would end up in the hands of the same people.
That's right.
What I do feel that crypto does, among other things, but what I feel like crypto does is it places people, maybe for the first time in their life, in full control and power of their revenue, the return on the investment.
That's right.
And it gives them, think about it. I mean, nobody believes a savings account's a place to put your money. Right? And anybody that's got any common sense knows that a 401k is a joke.
Right. That's right.
And I have money in conservative, index funds and stuff too, to diversify my revenue and stuff. But ain't nobody out there looking at a, conservative mutual, index thing and, in their mind investment going, oh yeah, man, maybe if we're lucky, 6 to 8% on my money in the next 20 or 30 or 40 years, I'll be able to retire rich.
That's right.
And yet, whether you call it the next gold rush, whether you call it, the wild, wild west, I don't care how you look at it. I think that the world would continue to live in fear based on the propaganda that is fed to them. And I don't care if you're left or right, just based on whatever news channels you currently are addicted to or the social media channels that you're scrolling on a consistent basis to feed us with whatever elements of fear or reluctancy that we have instead of being proactive. And I think that's what's going to happen is that people that are proactive, even now it's not too late, right, to start making better decisions as it relates to digital assets.
Right.
By the way, not just crypto, man, digital real estate, digital assets within, the metaverse and the immersive virtual reality experience. I mean, it comes down to not whether you understand it or not. It comes down to not whether you like it or not. I don't have to like it.
That's right.
I just have to understand that it's happening. And the value of that is learning how to be an early arriver, an early adopter. And even if you wasn't that type person, because I got to tell you, James, there's many times in my life I was at the right place at the right time, but I did nothing about it.
That's right. Me too.
Did nothing about it. I mean, I was at the right place at the right time when I could have got Netflix stock and Apple stock and Google stock for next to nothing, and didn't do anything.
That's right.
I remember the first time. Just ignorance, right? I remember the first time someone. I was in construction in the maybe mid '80s, and I remember going to a gas station and going in there and seeing a bottle of water for sale. And I remember vividly thinking to myself, who in their right mind would pay for bottled water? I mean, you could drink it on the side of the building out the spigot for free.
That's right.
I thought to myself, this will never work. Ain't no redneck in my town going to buy water in a bottle. I mean, man,
that's right.
Some of the next wars are going to be fought over water.
That's right.
Water rights, right? So back down to crypto. It's valuable, I think, more so that less, I should say, that you understand it,
right,
and more that you get connected to people that do. For instance, you have become a voice of authority in this space, not because you've read a few books, but because you have experienced the ups and downs of the industry. And by default, you have become so immersed in the information that you understand the fluidity of it. You understand the rise and fall of it. You understand the language of it. You probably understand the geopolitics of different countries behind it.
Right.
All of that leads to you being a voice that can be trusted in a time where people maybe across the board are too lazy to do the research, or they're just uninformed and don't really know what to do with the information, like what Bitcoin or what coins or digital assets to invest in. And so I just want to continue to remind the people that, obviously, if you're on this show today watching, you already trust James. But at the end of the day, there should be a larger drive within you to bring your loved ones to the table as well, to at least educate them on where we're heading in society. I mean, look, you don't have to be a Harvard grad to look around today and see that that banks are failing, that banks aren't set up to handle the amount of money in there. What's crazier is that what they're doing with your money is either foreign exchange or digital assets anyway. They're already doing the stuff that we don't want to talk about.
Right.
Right. So as countries' economic infrastructure collapses, as our world it is rapidly moving towards figuring out a way to create a coin that best represents their government.
That's right.
It's not an issue of if things are going to get worse. The real question we have to ask ourselves is, when am I going to step up to the table and realize that when everything seems to be falling apart, the wealthier continue to get wealthier because they're willing to take the information that is there, no matter how,
that's right,
opposite it seems than our traditional advice that we received. It's time that we take a portion of our income, not all of your income,
that's right,
right? It's just creating portfolio income. It's just pockets of revenue in different spaces.
Absolutely.
And the crypto space is going to be one of those that's not only already created multiples of millionaires, but I think the people that gravitate towards that space, and may I say this too, James, people that are on the front end and the cutting edge of where it's actually going to.
That's right. That's right.
Not just stuff that exists, but also getting in the right circles to understand where is this thing heading to? Like what type of genres of business and elements of banking and commerce, like what will be the end result of where this will be. And if you're visionary enough to see where this thing can be in 5 years, 10 years, 20 years, those are the people that will capitalize on that and look back. And much like you and your wife traveling around the world thinking, man, we're living the dream life. Right. What's crazy is that the dream life is just one decision away.
That's all it is.
It's just one decision away. And so today, I trust that people will make the right decision to continue diversifying their assets, continue to seek out the mentorship, wisdom, and education it takes to really go solidify not just their family's future, but to create legacy income, the money that outlives you and impacts generations to come that are after you're gone. And so anyway, it's been an honor to be on here with you today. You're a great friend, someone I continue to learn from myself, and I can't wait to see what the Lord has in future for me and you as well.
Thank you so much, my friend. And let's definitely, I know we had an appointment today to speak, so when I'm done with this, I would say, was it around noon that we're supposed to speak today?
Yeah, we anytime that you're free. Today's an easier day for me.
Okay, perfect. So let's do it around noon. As soon as I finish up with this show, I got a couple of things to do, but I want to speak on some of the things you got going and some of the things that I can continue to do and work with you. So I appreciate you, my friend, my brother, my big brother by 1 year, Kevin Mullens. I appreciate you for being on, my brother.
Thank you, man. Blessings to you and your entire family. I look forward to seeing you soon.
God bless you and yours as well, my brother. See you soon. Thank you. Guys, that's Kevin Mullens, my brother. I hope you guys enjoyed that incredible interview. And this time I was able to cut off the interview without shutting off the show. So really quickly before I get going, guys, I know we're an hour and 15 minutes into this thing. We got to bring this thing down to a close here. Let me just recognize some of the people here. My beautiful queen, always my greatest supporter, my partner in life, my best friend, my wife, Jeanette. Thank you so much for being here, beautiful. We actually have an anniversary coming up in 6 days. I've been reminding her every day. It's our anniversary. Remember that? Was it Tony? So we got an anniversary coming up in 6 days. I'm so humbled and appreciative of my beautiful queen, Jeanette. Tony Baggs in the house. What's up, my man? Shane Sullivan, C. Kez. How you doing? JC, what's up, my man? We used to tour around and speak together. That's my brother, man. Those are the kind of people that I was around when I was speaking, and that's what I did for many years. And I bring those people on, guys, to share their story, but to also give validation to what I've done and the things that I've accomplished. And so that way you guys get to know who your brother 6AJ is. Appreciate you, CKS, Queens in the house, Bullish Big D, Tony Baggs. You guys mean the world to me. Thank you so much for being here. And, it's like he said, guys, this is our time. Jeanette, thank you so much, my queen, with the super chat. I appreciate you. Dr. Sheba's in the house. Kenny G, my man Kenny G's in the house. Mike Tatner. Appreciate all you guys that are here, showing up, showing your support. It means the world to me, guys. It's just amazing. And that's Crypto Tales in the house with the super chat. My brother. And that's what I try to tell you guys. Like, there's so much, guys, that I've done and that I've been a part of that I want to be able to do for the family. Like when we're talking about movie premieres with Robert Rashad, or we're talking about movie projects that Ryan Lamar is still working on right now, or movies that Kevin Mullens is working on right now that he wants to include me with. I get these calls all the time, guys. I got friends in music. Hey, James, do you still want to manage? Do you still want to do this? Do you still want to be a part of this? And I get calls all the time. And it's just an overwhelming amount of opportunity that's always around me because of the relationships that I've built over the years. What's up, Laurel Jack? And Beekeeper69. So I just, the importance of bringing these people on is not to say Jay Kills, Mr. and Miss Jay Kills in the house, but it's not to go around saying, oh, James has done this, and it's just so you understand who I am and what I've done and the relationships that I forged. It kind of identifies my character. It kind of identifies what I'm about and what this show is about. And it's so important for me to continue to do that so that you guys know that you guys have someone that you can trust and someone who some of the top people around the world, say, these things about, because it's really about that, building great relationships, coming from a place of being humbled and wanting to help people win. Guys, it's funny because I was showing, this is, let's see if I can find it here. Kevin Mullens, did I go here? Let's see. I was showing you guys, I think it should have been at the top here. Did it go up to the top or did I miss it? Let's see here. Let me refresh. This kind of shows you guys, guys, make sure you go check out Canal Street. This was us here back in that. I think I shared this with you guys. This is when they had me speaking. You can still see I can't remember the young guy's name from the Disney Channel. You got the guy here who played in several movies with the Bobby Brown Story, and so many other big-time movies. I can't think of his name right here, but all these are actors, and in the back here is like Mekhi Phifer and all these guys that were here. Some of the producers, another big actor, and so I was there speaking on investing and mindset and management and finance, how to invest wisely and all these different things. And so this is the director who had me come up to speak in front of these guys. These are some of the executive producers. This is Kevin Mullens here. This is when they had me speak with Emmett Smith's wife, Patty Smith, at the National YMCA convention. You can see your boy there. This is me and actually Emmett Smith there at that event. This is us speaking in front of all the kids. I mean, so, it's important that you guys know, like, who's my brother James? What has he done? And it just adds, just more validation to what we're trying to do here and what our goal and our mission is. And that is to, give back and help people win and get people to understand how amazing this opportunity is. And one of the things that Kevin talked about is, appreciating where we're at right now, guys. I told you guys, you're in the top 5% of all humanity that's in crypto. So it means a lot, guys. Definitely thank you guys for being here. Since I work 5 hours a week, need to cut them down. So, okay. So I appreciate you guys. Let's get into the drawing, guys. I know we got a little long here, about an hour and 20 minutes. So we need to get into this drawing right now. Let's go ahead and do it. Let me get out of here. Let's see. Let me go back to my page here so we can figure out who is the next person on the wheel. So again, guys, shouts out to my brother, Kevin Mullens. Thank you so much for being on, my brother. We've got a lot more people coming up, including Ryan Lamar. We'll have to share that story with the movie producer and director who's out making a bunch of films right now. He's going to be coming on. His mother got COVID, so we had to postpone, but I'm looking forward to having him on as well. Yeah, that's my man, Pots and Pans. So, all right, guys, so let's do it. Let's see. Here is would have been yesterday's, right? Yeah, so let's go here. Wow, that's always loud. I got to turn that volume down. So let's see. We got, okay, so it looks like we can do names here. Let's go to the wheel. Let's pick who's the next person on our wheel. So far, we've got, let me take this out of here. We've got, let's see, Laurel Jack, Dr. Sheba, Mike Tatner. Who's next? Let's figure it out. And the only way we can do that, is by having my man on, Crypto Tales. Let's do it. Who's the winner? Let's figure it out right now.
See the masses, swift in other words, was no clue to us. Stuck in
Does it like it is. Got them switching gears in Ferrari with the 10s. On some bullet shit, stop crying, start buying, getting bags. I ain't lying. Money multiplying, call it rocket science. I'm so tired of this crypto control. You already know, baby.
Aren't you tired of the crypto control, huh? They're trying to come, what is it called? Choke point 2.0? Leave us alone. Let us win. That's what it's all about. We're sick and tired of being messed with, guys. There's so much FUD and fear, and we'll talk about that tomorrow, as we're supposed to be covering OP, which is optimism. We're going to be covering that tomorrow, and we'll talk about some of the crazy things that's continuously happening in the crypto space. But for right now, we need to count down, what was it? 6 people. So let's do that. 6 down, 6 names. Let's do it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Is that right? It looks like Mr. Lucky himself. Beekeeper 69. That's who it looks like. Fishing with Camo Joe. What's up, my friend? Queen's in the house. Dr. Sheba. Okay, so it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Beekeeper 69 might be the luckiest man in the world. Is he already on the wheel? No, he's not. He is now. Beekeeper 69 back on the wheel. My brother, Mr. 4-leaf clover himself. That guy's lucky. Beekeeper 69 is this Laurel Jack, Dr. Sheba, Mike Tatner, Beekeeper 69. We need 3 more. We'll pick the next person tomorrow. Make sure after the stream is over, you go and hit like or make a comment. That allows you to be on as we go back a day to pick who's going to be on the board. So, guys, I appreciate each and every one of you guys. Thank you guys so much for being here. We are now 1 hour and 22 minutes past our time. Let's see. Fishing with Camo Joe, thank you for being here, my friend. CCAS, Dr. Sheba. We'll see you guys mañana. We'll be back on 8 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, which is 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. I got to get used to that time change that we have, guys. So we'll see you guys mañana. We'll be talking about OP, optimism. Appreciate you guys. Much love. Your boy, James, a.k.a. 68J. Till next time. Peace.